Hi everybody, I'm finally back. I know I apologize in almost every video for it being too long since I've made one, but I'm going to try and get back on track and get back to making one video every week. Things have just been crazy right now for my husband and I. We went on vacation for a little over a week. We adopted a new dog. I've taken on a new role at work, so I've been stressed and so tired by the end of the day. I haven't had the energy to make them, but I'm going to try and push myself through all that tiredness, and I'm going to try and get back on track because I have missed making these videos and hearing from all of the people that do watch them and enjoy them. So, this week's video is actually about one of the things that can come along with Tourette syndrome. A lot of people have other disorders or other syndromes that come with it, like ADD, ADHD. Some people are autistic that also have Tourette syndrome, and a very large component of Tourette syndrome is OCD, which is also known, or the full name is obsessive compulsive disorder. I want to make this video about obsessive compulsive disorder and what it's like for me to have it, because so many people think it's just liking things clean. I don't know how many times in a day I hear somebody say, well, my OCD can't take it. I need this to be picked up, or I need that straightened because I'm so OCD and it can't handle it. And so many people have the wrong idea. Yes, you want things neat. A lot of people do. And it is a tendency of OCD, and you want things straight, you want them in order, you don't want the drawer open, you don't want the cupboard open, because it messes with your brain. But just because those same things bother you doesn't necessarily mean you're obsessive compulsive. For somebody that actually has obsessive compulsive disorder, it can almost seem as like an insult, because you're pushing it off as a light joke. Which I know everything's a joke nowadays, and you have to learn to laugh, and you have to learn to laugh at yourself. And most of the time, that's exactly what I do. I brush it off, I don't think anything of it, and I just tuck it under my skin and don't even think about it. But once you hear it so many times, you really just want people to know what it's really like. I saw a quiz going around on Facebook to tell people how OCD they were, and everybody kept getting 100% and saying, oh, what a surprise, blah, blah, blah. Well, I took the quiz just to see what it was about, and it was just to notice the slightest difference in a shape between three shapes. And I don't mean any offense by this, but I want to tell you that does not mean you have obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm going to go into a little thing here where I tell you all what OCD is for me, what my compulsions are, what my obsessive thoughts are, and what I obsess over and over again about. It's not making things clean. Do I need my house clean? Do I need my bedroom and everything else clean? Yes, I do. It does bother me. Deep in my brain, there's something in my brain that doesn't let me continue on without fixing whatever the mess or whatever it was is. Sorry. But for me, obsessive compulsive disorder is my compulsion to constantly bite and pick at my lips. My bottom lip is completely torn apart 98% of the time. I'm always picking at it. I pick at my lip to the point where it is bleeding. It has its own pulse. I can feel the pain radiating off of it, and I still cannot stop myself from picking at it. I will sit there picking and picking, telling myself, like, you need to stop doing this. You can't keep doing this. Your lips are bleeding. You have to stop, and I can't. I've actually asked my husband to help me, and I've asked him to tell me to stop doing it when I'm doing it, because sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it. And he can tell me to stop, and 2 seconds later, my fingers go right back to my mouth, and I'm picking at my lips again. It's one of the things I hate the most about my disorders, because I'm embarrassed about it. I know a lot of people don't see it, because thankfully most of the time it doesn't show up in pictures. But there are times where I go to work or I go somewhere and I have a bunch of red spots on my lips, and it's so embarrassing. And I think it's disgusting. I think for my lips, because on top of that, it bothers me. If I feel skin coming off of my lip, my brain has to pick it. I cannot feel that skin rubbing against my tongue or rubbing against my other lip. And that's just one compulsion of mine. Another OCD for me, or another compulsion, or another reason what OCD really is for me is at work. This is a bit of a mixture, sort of. It's a compulsion and it's a almost like a tic as well. I am triggered every single time I touch my mouse. If I touch my mouse, I have to hit it on the ground, or I have to hit it on the table. I slam it down 3 to 4 times, or 2 to 4 times, because I can only do things in even numbers. And every great once in a while, I can handle 3 or 7. But I have to do them in the even numbers, and I have to slam it down, and I have to do it over and over and over again. Or I have to constantly click my mouse, and then after that is over, I have to click and slam my mouse down all at the same time. I can't not do it. My brain just does it automatically. It's not even something I think about half the time until I'm actually doing it and realizing that I didn't do it right the first time, or the second time, or the 10th time. I do this all day long, and I have to sit and think about what my coworkers are thinking and how annoyed they have to be because I'm doing that. Another part of OCD for me is obsessive thoughts. These thoughts for me, a lot of people don't know about them. I actually haven't told very many people about it at all. It's one of the things I'm not very open about. I'm a worrier, as a lot of people are, but I will obsess and obsess and obsess. I have recently started praying a little bit more, but my brain turned that into almost like a compulsion, or I'm sorry, an obsession and a compulsion. Now in my head, and this is really hard for me to admit because I almost feel dumb, or I just haven't told really anybody this. I think I've only told my husband and maybe one other person this before. I feel like if I don't pray for my family to be safe and for them to not get hurt throughout the day, or for something to not to happen to them, I'm afraid if I don't do it, that means something is going to happen. And that's where my brain goes, and I obsess over it, and I get scared if I didn't do it the night before, because what if something happens, and what if that's my fault? And those are the thoughts that go in my head, and that is part of obsessive compulsive disorder. It's not because you want the papers to be straight. It's not because you want the door shut. It is a constant companion in your life, and I don't mean companion in a positive light really at all. When I tic, I have to tic in a very specific way because of the compulsions and because of the OCD. It has to happen in a specific way. It has to happen in specific numbers, and it can only be in even numbers, like I said earlier, depending on the tic. A newer part of my OCD as well is now every time I come out of my bathroom or bedroom anywhere in my house, and if I shut the door behind me, I have to tap on the doorknob. I would say again about 2 to 4 times, and I usually have to do that 2 to 4 times in a very quick repetitive motion, probably 2 times as well, because almost every single time I don't do it right the first time, according to my head. And then after I do that, after I shut the door and do it on the doorknob, I then have to do it on the door behind me as I leave. And then I also do it as I'm walking into another room, which happens 90% of the time. Every time I scan paperwork at work, every time it comes out of the printer, I have to slam it down on the table just right. All the pages have to stay together while I'm hitting it on the table. I have to hit it on the papers that are in front of me, and I have to hit it on the regular part of the desk so I can hear the differences in the noises. That's some of the things that I obsess about. That's some of the compulsions that I have and some of the parts of OCD that I have. Other people have it so much worse than I do, and I just want people to know, and I want them to learn more about what obsessive compulsive disorders are. And I want everybody to learn more about all of the disorders. But OCD is so much more than what people think it is, and it's not something that Facebook can tell you that you have. It's not something that you know the difference between 2 circles. That's, for me, that frustrates me a lot to see something like that, because I know how hard it is sometimes, and I know how much worse people have it. And I know how much it can make my Tourette's worse. If my Tourette's are high, my compulsions are high. If my compulsions are high one day, it's going to make my tics even higher because it's going to stress me out and it's going to make me go into more obsessive thoughts, obsessive behaviors, and it's just a never-ending battle. It's a double-edged sword kind of in a way because you can't have, for me, I can't have one without the other. Because of the way I spoke earlier, when I tick a certain way. When I obsess over and over. Even when I'm hitting the door, I'm hitting it in certain numbers. I'm hitting it in certain patterns. And it's something that I have to do. My brain will not function if I don't do it. I will obsess over it after that if I don't do it. And it's awful. And it's honestly, it's just as exhausting as Tourette syndrome is. And I just hope everybody takes this video into consideration the next time they say something about it or the next time they hear somebody else say something about it. Read up on it, learn what it is, and learn what people actually go through when they have it. Because it's not a joke. I get we have to lighten up and we have to be able to laugh at ourselves, and I do. But it's really not an easy thing to live with. And it's not just liking your house clean, like I've said a million times throughout this video. That's really all I have for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm really sorry if I got a little too fired up about it, but sometimes I just really get worked up, and I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time. So I hope you all enjoy. I promise I'll be back next week. I will be continuing to make these videos. If there's a certain topic that you guys would like me to talk about, or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comment section or email me. All my information is below in the description for this video, so please remember to subscribe and please keep sharing my videos so that we can get the word out, and that one day Tourette syndrome and OCD as well won't be such a joke anymore. Bye guys.